Christmas dinner, my mother raised her glass and said, "I want to thank my oldest daughter for making me a grandmother because at least one of my daughters knows what a woman is for," while looking at me. I was sitting across the table holding a glass of water because I was the one who organized the dinner and bought all the food and cooked everything from the turkey to the pie because my mother told me 2 weeks earlier that she wanted a real Christmas this year. Faye was sitting next to her with her 3 kids who were throwing dinner rolls at each other and nobody corrected them. My mother clinked her glass and everyone raised theirs, and I just sat there because what was I supposed to toast to? My own mother just told a table of 14 people that I hadn't done anything meaningful with my life because I didn't have children. I was 31 years old, and I had been taking care of my mother since I was 23. Her mortgage was $1,100 a month, and I paid it every single month because after my father passed, she couldn't afford it on her pension. I never told anyone because my mother asked me not to. She said it would embarrass her if people knew her youngest daughter was covering her bills, so I kept it between us. I also paid her car insurance and her electric bill, and covered the deductible when she needed her gallbladder removed 2 years ago. Every month I transferred money into her account so it looked like she was handling everything herself. She wanted to appear independent, and I respected that, even when it cost me vacations and savings and sleep. Faye never paid for a single thing. Faye showed up to holidays with her kids and left early because the kids were cranky. Faye borrowed money from our mother regularly and never paid it back, which meant she was really borrowing my money without knowing it. But Faye had children, so Faye was the accomplished daughter. After that toast, I finished my plate and cleaned the counter and drove home. 2 months later, my mother called a family meeting at her house. When I got there, Faye was already sitting on the couch with her husband Dominic, and their kids were running through the living room knocking into furniture. My mother sat us down and said she'd been thinking about her legacy, and she wanted to make sure it went to the child who was actually building a family. She looked at me and said she was signing the house over to Faye. She reasoned that Faye had 3 children who needed room to grow, and I was a single woman with no kids, so I didn't need a 3-bedroom house. The house I had been paying the mortgage on for 8 years. The house that would have been paid off in 3 more years because of my money. I asked her if she was serious. She said she'd already spoken to a lawyer and the paperwork was drawn up. Faye sat there and didn't say one word. Dominic studied the floor. My mother slid a piece of paper toward me and asked me to sign something confirming I had no financial interest in the property. I told her I wasn't signing anything and I left. On my way out, she called me ungrateful. She said the house was hers to do with as she pleased, and that I was being selfish for not wanting my nieces and nephew to have a stable home. 3 weeks later, she signed the house over to Faye without needing anything from me because the title had always been in her name alone. She had only wanted my signature so it wouldn't look bad. The day the title transferred to Faye, the mortgage became Faye's responsibility. I stopped sending the monthly payment because the house belonged to someone else now. The first missed payment came and went. The second one triggered a letter from the bank addressed to the new homeowner. Faye called me panicking because she had never seen a mortgage statement in her life and didn't understand why the bank was saying she owed money. She thought the house was fully paid off. She thought our mother owned it free and clear. My mother had never told Faye that I was making the payments. Faye and Dominic did not have $1,100 a month to spare. They were already stretched with 3 kids in daycare and 2 car payments and credit card balances they had been carrying for years. Faye called our mother and asked why she'd given her a house that still had a mortgage on it. My mother said she didn't know there was still a balance because she thought her pension had been covering it. She either genuinely forgot I was the one making those payments, or she chose not to remember. The bank didn't care whose name used to be on the title. Within 5 months, Faye was behind on everything. She and Dominic argued about money every day. My mother was still living in the house with them because that had been part of the arrangement. 3 adults and 3 children crammed into a house that nobody could afford to keep. My mother called me in April. She didn't apologize. She said I needed to start sending money again because the family was falling apart. After I hung up on Rosemary that night, I opened the calculator on my phone and added up every single